like, well, just as long as I get there safe, like, I really don't care. Like,
well, that's what submission is. That's what submission is that you.
Down that I think everybody is at some point deserving to receive love and to be even into marriage if they do aspire for marriage. I
believe that society shapes how we view things and how we look at things in our life.
Make your own bed. That's basically what Kevin Samuels is saying. His delivery is what people kind of throws people off. But basically,
aggressive or like violent, like where I think toxic masculinity is
no offense to men, that they also get this idea that, you know, women are just going to take care of them and everything is going to be like easy.
A domestic violence shelter, and he brought her up to be, you know, a $25,000.
Hell yeah, you need to judge in dating. It is what it is. You know, you can't not judge people just because you feel bad about it. Like, you need to know.
As much as I love my daughter, there are some harsh realities and some things that her mother and I teach her in order to help her to understand.
like, I'm sure everyone knows a woman that, you know, had to father her dick all the time.
What is going on? This is CKQ Podcast. Welcome. If you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. We are going live. And today we have KARL hosting.
What up?
A couple of people that we're waiting on, but we can still get the conversation started.
Yes. Well, basically, I was getting into what is a matriarch. I wanted to get into that because I know that would be the start of the conversational piece. What is a matriarch to people? What is their definition? What is their outlook of what a matriarch is?
Matriarch, right?
Mm-hmm. When it comes to like your family, or let's start with family. Who's the matriarch of the family?
I mean, obviously the mom, right? I would always think that the mom is going to be the matriarch of the family. The emotional support.
Not all the time, though. There's some men that are, believe it or not.
I guess then I don't really understand the context behind the word matriarch.
Because it's the designated person that leads the family as a whole. The generations of the family. So we could say, like in my family, my grandmother was the matriarch.
Okay.
And it's sort of like that movie Soul Food. No matter, grandma had 19 kids and they all grow up to be adults. They have children. And everybody in my family already knew that when Thanksgiving came around, we all know we're going to grandma's house. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Every Sunday dinner, right there, grandma's house. There was a problem, grandma's house. And grandma was the priest, the counselor, the example to all the women on how to be a wife.
Okay.
And my grandfather, he was the example to the men on how to be a man and how to be a husband.
How to move like one.
Right. How to think like one, how to move like one, how to set yourself up like one. And that was the tradition. That was the trail. That was the example that you had to live by. Or come off of. And a lot of people don't have that today, but I'm going to get to that later. So that's where I'm trying to get people to understand what is their setup. Where did they get their?
I think most people don't have. I want to say like, I mean, especially in the Black community, but I think in most communities people don't have a matriarch. So I guess a matriarch sets the cultural foundation of the family.
Correct.
Like they instill the culture into the next generation that keeps continuing.
And that took care of the legwork for people to figure out, what should I do? How should I handle this?
Yeah.
Right. Because it was passed down. That's what tradition really means. That's where it came from.
So matriarch is tradition.
Yes. Yes. It's tradition, like a baton being passed down from one person that is the head of the tribe, family, and it's passed down to the children, which are.
Ooh, you know what I just thought of?
Yes.
I know why. I know why it's ended. Because with the ending of so many families, that tie has been severed. Not just because there's no matriarch, but because now the person that's supposed to be passing down that baton is now in race with all the people. So instead of focusing on passing down those same traditions,
correct,
they're focused on, I'm trying to get mine.
This is why today, the reason why this might be kind of alien to a lot of people, the reason why, the reason why this is alien to a lot of people is because, like I said, in my family growing up, we all knew where to go Sunday dinner.
Facts.
On Sunday, 5 o'clock, I don't care how big you are, how old you are, who you are, all family members must report. And Thanksgiving, same thing. This is what has taken place over the last 10, 20, I would say 20 years. Women, instead of going to grandma's house or whoever's the designated matriarch of the family, decided, I'm gonna have my own. Everybody's having their own dinner. And they're expecting other family to come, but that everybody's having their own dinner. So how I'm gonna come to yours and you come to mine and we having our own? It's causing the confusion.
Yeah.
Because we intentionally don't want to unify.
I don't even think we know how to unify though.
That's the start. That's why I wanted to bring this subject up.
Like we truly don't. I mean, I could see it playing out in my own life, and I grew up in a 2-parent household, not the best parent households, but I grew up in one. So I would say it still hinders me, just because I didn't see a great relationship from them, but I still see two people learning how to work together.
Okay.
So now I just think a relationship is supposed to be just suffering all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like so, I can live with someone, but I see it as like, even if it's torture, you still live with that person.
So let's take that. Imagine if you was surrounded by that type of setup. Your mindset would have been like what?
What do you mean? Imagine if I was set up with the matriarch mindset.
Right.
Oh, I think it would be much. I would have I think living in an unhealthy environment gives you self-doubt, self-esteem issues, because you think you're supposed to live and suffer in that bad environment, so you truly believe you don't deserve anything better. So you're gonna think lowly of yourself because you're gonna be sitting in that. This is what I deserve. But if you're growing up in a house where there is tradition, you know what you're supposed to do already. So there's a standard, there's a bar. If you don't do that, then you know, okay, well, I didn't hit that bar today. Hey.
So what you think, Unique?
I didn't even see the video.
Compromise.
I just came up here.
Okay, well, let me kind of refresh it for you. I'm starting in a way of the beginning to now, right? The matriarch. What is a matriarch to you? If I say who's a matriarch in your family, what does that mean to you?
What? The eldest mom or the eldest, the female lineage, the oldest.
Okay.
In the whole
So in your mind, based on what you know and what you grew up on, right? You never saw a male matriarch.
You can't be a male matriarch.
You sure about that?
Female.
You sure?
Female.
Not
you
on
can be a patriarch, but you can't be a male matriarch. What in the hell?
Well, yeah. Well, I understand what you're saying. Well, the head of the family.
Okay, a patriarchy. Yeah, a patriarchy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I was using it as far as we at one time, if we go back to our African tribal days, as well as our early 40s, the 50s, the 60s, 70s, that was in place. That was what we learned from the head of the family.
Who? What was in place? Back in Africa, you saying what was in place?
Yeah, the matriarch or the patriarch of the family.
No. You said you mean the two of them were.
Yeah.
Okay.
One or the other. There was always someone there.
Okay.
The woman was teaching like I was using as an example myself.
Okay.
My grandmother was the epitome of all her daughters. They learned how to cook, sew, clean, how to be a wife, how to be a woman. That was the go-to. Right? And my grandfather, which was her husband so many years, that was your pinnacle on how to be a man, how to be a father, how to be a husband. You understand? And it's passing the baton as you do, like you're running a race. You pass the baton down. What you pass down to your sons. And
it's supposed to go that way.
Well, and this is what I'm saying. Do people identify with that? Do they know what that is? Because I'm saying this in so many different ways, but I'm saying it like, it's like showing a fuse to a kid or a rotary phone to a kid today. They don't know what that is because nobody ever showed them or taught them that.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I'm talking about today, this is going to that.
It's supposed to be a balance. Like, it's supposed to be, a man and a woman balance and doing, teaching the women what they're supposed to know, and then also teaching the men some of the things that they know. Because it's not like you don't learn anything from your mom. You do learn some stuff, but your main, thing that you get
the main bulk.
Yeah.
It's a balance of the two. That's why both is necessary.
So you do learn from both, but it's just that you need both. And
Chris said something very interesting in the chat.
Come on.
She said, "I'm not seeing any bow ties."
I'm
not the host today, Chris, so I don't know. I don't know who was supposed to.
It's Casual Tuesday.
Yo, we got it. You know what? That could be a Christmas present to us. By everybody in bow ties.
Oh, wow, I see what you're trying to do there, but this started way before Christmas, so. We're gonna have many more shows before Christmas comes, right?
I know. I'm just. I'm sorry, yo.
No, yeah, that's cool. I'm joking, but no, that's actually a very good point though that you're making. With the whole matriarch, that. So unique. What I was saying was that the matriarch of the family, going off of the idea that Carl's saying, the matriarch of the family is the one that hands down the generations of hey, this is what we're gonna do next in our family. So everyone, the young boys, even the young girls, know this is the kind of tradition that's set.
Yeah.
So the tradition is set by the woman. She sets that event. She sets the event. I truly believe that's like the woman's special power is like their ability to event plan and put people together, and they could do that much better than men could. My personal opinion.
But the men who do it make more money than them. But anyway, go ahead.
Because I think it's
you
a lot
have
more.
men who do party planning that's like famous, but you don't see the women being famous.
But predominantly women are the ones that run that field, though.
Yeah.
Well,
but they don't even become famous in it that much. But
what's that? I think possibly because men are have more of a business sense to it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So like the few men that do it, they see it as a business versus the women do it because they love it. They love to bring people together and that's they can make it very extravagant. But when it's both of them coming together, that's when it's truly like a great event, because now it's not just a business, or the whole thing is just a business. I mean, don't get me wrong, a man can still plan it and make it a business and it can still be extravagant, but it's still a business nonetheless. There's this.
So when it comes down to family, when it comes down to family, the one thing that always sticks in your mind, I don't care if you 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, you remember the way grandma used to make that bread pudding or that roll or whatever it is, the food. You know, I put my foot in it. I put love in it. It was always the cooking.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Everybody want to bring their potato salad, but it doesn't matter. Whatever, she was the one, and this is why I'm keep going back to that movie Soul Food, because that's what it was all the way around. You get what I'm saying? But in a lot of cases too, not to dismiss it and not to say that the women were the only one that kept the family together, there was also men, the grandfather, that made that happen too.
They took care of the boys.
There you go.
What they're supposed to be doing.
Yep. I mean,
why do you think? You know what? Where do you think that is now, Unique?
Where we at now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the whole idea of a matriarch in a family. Like, where is that in this generation, in this society? Do you think we have it? Do we not? Why not?
We have it. It's just not in abundance.
Really?
You sure we have it?
We have it. It's just not in abundance. It's very small. It's a small community that, you know, that has that balance with men and women, and it's real matriarch, and it's teaching people, and it's teaching women all over the world how to be feminine and be in your feminine energy. There are people who are doing that. It's just that they don't get highlighted, and it's just a small, it's small. So that's why.
You're saying honestly that in today's time,
there are people who do it. There's an exception to every rule to me. There's an exception, and I've seen it.
Can it be done inside? You know what? Let me ask you this. Can it be done inside of a family, or can it be done as a single person as well?
No, it can only be done in a family. Now, you can be a single person who's just a part of a family that's really big, and they bring you in. You know, that happens. You know, you end up being a part of a bigger family, so you're gonna keep going to see your family and whatever. But as far as starting out, you can't have a base without both. Like, you need both. Without that base, then you ain't gonna have it.
I'm still stuck on you saying that you see that today.
Okay, so I was on this show with Black Magic versus Black Tragic. I've showed women who are doing these things. I've showed women who are trying to build this stuff for them as far as like teaching women and becoming feminine. I showcase some women on there that are doing these things. It's just that it's not a lot. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, there are women out there that are trying. It's just we got a small voice.
I think it's hard. So I think all right. So I just thought about this. I think a platform needs to be built before a good, stable matriarch can be built inside of a family.
Correct.
Meaning that man needs to provide a stable enough place so where a woman feels secure mentally, physically, of course, where she can now fully flourish, fully be herself, and put together those traditions. And now the man has to keep that structure up for her to be able to keep that going, those traditions going. So if there's no strong, stable man inside of this whole entire, if there's no, hi Jackie, how you doing?
Both. What's up,
If
Jackie?
there's no strong, stable man inside of this home to actually make it secure enough for her to feel she can actually produce these traditions for the next generations to come, if she's always having a headache, if she's feeling like, okay, lights might be cut off, like she has no time to think about tradition. She has no time to think about what she's going to instill into her kids. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I know what you mean, but see, this is the difference between then and now. It was totally unselfish. It was always long-term thinking. It was always, as long as we maintain, so that way we're always the people that get the phone call. Anytime there's a problem, it comes here first. We the ones that keep the family together. You understand? No matter where they go in life, how successful, how bad, no matter what happens with the cousins, the aunts, the uncles, whatever. Thanksgiving, no matter what happens, you can't have your own dinner, auntie, because everybody has to be at grandma's house.
Facts.
You cannot have your own thing, or you got a date you couldn't get up because you went out Saturday night. Sunday, 5 o'clock, you have to be at grandma's house. You don't see that today because people feel that with all their excuses in the Black community, I don't have time. I don't have time.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I'm busy, or I don't like this person, or whatever excuse is. But guess what? That's what kept the family together. And I'm gonna be the first one to admit, my father had 19 brothers and sisters. I only got one aunt right now.
Damn.
I have cousins that I don't even know.
What up, Simon?
And my cousins are in my age bracket, so they got kids. I don't even know them. And some of them got kids. I don't know them either. So this is why I said, if you go back to that movie Soul Food, once grandma dies, this is what you see. Everybody's scattered. And if it wasn't for social media, damn if you do that. Because I'm going to tell you, my dad passed away 12 years ago. I can count on one hand how many relatives been inside my house in 12 years.
Damn. How you doing, Trinity? Cammy, I see you in the back. For some reason, your device is not connecting.
Who?
Cammy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
Great, fantastic.
Hey,
Welcome
Carl,
to the
how you
show.
doing?
Hey, what's going on?
I came because Carl invited me, so I wanted to see what it was about for a while before I joined.
The question is
Carl is the host tonight, he's running it.
I'm doing this in a succession, asking everyone, who was your matriarch? What, or better yet, when I say matriarch or patriarch, what does that mean to you? And then who is the designated matriarch, patriarch in your family?
Okay.
Two-part question.
I got it. Well, matriarch and patriarch by definition is the way that I know is that it's which gender is leading the household, right?
It could be either or, male or female.
Matriarch is female leader. Patriarch is male leader.
Correct.
You can't have a male leader that's a matriarch, right? So, yeah. So, that's what you mean by male or female,
Yeah,
right? So it could
right.
be either matriarch or patriarch. Now, who was my matriarch was my mom and my grandmother combined. Meaning that I saw how my grandmother, even though she already had 4 kids and was married, how she was still directing her and guiding her. And in turn, she trickled what she's learned and developed from her teachings, from her mom to us. Yeah.
And that's how it kept passing down. That's the connection that kept women prepared to be wives, prepared to be women, prepared for getting older, because everything was being passed down. Remember, like that secret recipe that 4 or 5 generations down on how to make cake or
peach cobbler.
Peach cobbler, right? You know, there you go. This is our great grandmother's recipe. You know? There you go. Yeah, so that's what I was trying to build up to, because there's more to it after that. There's more to it after that, but I'm building up to it, so I wanted everybody to just put their mind frame in that realm. Matriarch, patriarch was, because there's, like I said, I don't want to take away from the men that were also the hierarchy of the family that kept it together.
I don't think it's the men, the patriarch, that keeps the family together. It's the matriarch that keeps the family together.
In most cases, yes. If I'm saying tribal, or even if I say 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, there were a couple of men that were the hierarchy of the family. Like, if I say Bumpy Johnson, if I say Martin Luther King, you know, there are men that were they was the head of the family. And when I say the head of the family, I'm not talking about his wife and just kids. I'm talking about the whole umbrella that branches out. Everybody goes right up the chain of command. It went straight to him. So there's women sometimes at that high point, but there's also men at that high point. Every family's different.
Okay, so we're talking about, okay, so you already know how I communicate. I need to know, what are we talking about? Are we talking about both? Or are we talking about
I'm being neutral, both.
Because I mean, or is it a generalization? Like, I just need to know how to flow.
It's a generalization, meaning there's a beginning. Let's go back to the beginning.
I get it.
That's why I said from a tribal, because
right. But here we go. Right, check it. So this is how I see the whole entire system being built. Right. You have the mother and father. The mother and father, then they have children. The children's children, they have children. The children's children have children. Right.
Right.
And so, but at the root of it is the grandparents. Right. So it was the grandfather that started the whole system moving, because if he wasn't a provider, a protector, a lover, and a leader, none of these generations would even spring forth. So he provides and sets the foundation for all of that to happen. And it is grandma that keeps it together with her love, her comfort, her nurturing and tenderness and kindness, and all of the beautiful feminine things that we women can come with.
Right.
So, it's not a quality thing as much as it is a balance thing. The man, he provided the foundation and the dwelling place. Without the foundation or the dwelling place, there would be no monarchy.
Can I say something to add on to that?
Sure.
I think all right, so I'm gonna do a little personal story to kind of add into this whole thing. I once dated a Spanish girl, Spanish chick, and during Christmas and holidays, everyone would like come to their house, and that's where we'd have like Thanksgiving, that's where we have Christmas. Everything would always be at their house. And her father was the one that like ran the house, but the mother was the one that truly ran the house. He was the one that paid all the bills. She was a stay-at-home. He paid all the bills, but she was the one that made sure all the blow-up balloons went up during Halloween. Made sure like on Christmas, this is what times we're waking up. This is what we're doing. This, she set all of that stuff, but it couldn't have happened.
She manages the home.
Correct, but it all couldn't have happened before him building that stable platform. But now, where I also will say, because I think we screw up big time in the Black community, is because during Christmas, there'll be times where I remember that girl, she'd be telling me, oh, my uncle did this, and that. Man, they're in a big fight and it's crazy, blah, blah, blah. On Christmas time, everyone still comes in that house. Oh, no matter, blah, 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 like bickering back and forth, this and that.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, they were
even
still
with
a family.
The secret.
Even with everything going on, they were still a family. They came back together. Okay, we're going to break bread together. I don't like you today, but I still love you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Versus where we are so quick to try to cut each other out of our lives.
Quickly.
You know what I'm saying? Very, very quick. We grew up, okay, it's time for me to, parents are kicking their kids out, or kids just never want to come back and see the parents anymore. We're so quick to separate and never want to have anything to do with each other. So these traditions can't go on. Even if there's tiny little traditions that could have been built inside of our families, we don't even come back to let that seed sprout to bear fruit.
It's very meaningful because, like I said, you know, from the recipes to my daddy's watch to home remedies for cold, there was so many things that you got from your great grandmother that passed down to your grandmother, that passed down to your mother, that passed down to you, that you passed down to your daughter, and so on. And if you take up the energy and time to maintain that, then what's going on today, I don't think men and women would be at odds and at loss with relationships.
So if I may, Carl, ask you, do you think it's a thing where us Black Americans lack a sense of tradition?
Yes, absolutely, yes. That's what I'm getting into. Because if you look at other ethnic groups, and like I said, even if you go back as far as African tribes, you know, there was multiple different tribes, Indian tribes, everybody had their tradition within their tribe. And no matter what, you go to Hawaii right now, that's what I love about Dwayne Rock Johnson. He speaks about that, you know, no matter where you go in life, how big you get, whatever, the tradition, the home, you get what I'm saying? You maintain, there's a house that your family lived in for the last 70 years.
You seen what The Rock been doing? Have you been looking at his page?
No, I haven't.
No, what's he doing?
He's been giving houses to different people in his family. Cousins, aunts, uncles. He going in like, yeah, this is your house.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I like that. Because like I said, it's about, I used to say this to people before. Whenever you have the worst of the worst problems in your life, when you hit rock bottom, always go back to where you grew up at.
What up, Simon?
That's a good place to hit the reset button, because when you're moving forward and you get into a brick wall or some bumps or whatever, go back to where you grew up at and start from there, reminisce, and then move forward again. And that will give you a sense of saying, you know what, it could be worse. Because I remember the mayonnaise sandwich. I remember the hard times. I remember all the fights, the bickering. I remember the things that I went through to get to where I'm at today. So always go back. But see, a lot of people, because there's no preservation, there's no respect for the tradition, they just dismiss it. There is no home to go back to. What? Because they changed it and turned it into a mall, or, you know, like they did in Harlem. You know, at one time, us Black people really owned those townhouses. But because grandma died, grandpa got sick and died. This new generation that had no respect for tradition, let it go. They didn't even get involved. They didn't know about real estate. They didn't learn. And now you got a bunch of white people living in the same townhouse that your grandmother lived in for 70 years, 50 years. That was passed down 2-3 generations. You fucked that up.
But it all sounds like the backbone has to come down to those boys. Those
boys and girls.
Yeah, no, listen. What I'm saying is the girls can do what they can, but if the structure is not built for them to be able to feel comfortable in that setting, then what are they going to do? What can they do?
the structure was already there in the black community all over.
Correct. But if grandpa dies, grandma's gonna do the best she can. But if grandpa passes away, unfortunately, she's not by herself. She can do the best she can.
Yeah.
She's still uncovered. She's an uncovered woman. She has no more protection anymore. Okay, so she doesn't feel safe enough to keep passing those traditions down. Now, if those daughters can learn all the traditions that they want, but if they cannot take those traditions to a safe environment, a safe new home, then what those traditions don't.
It still stands, because the whole purpose of it is when grandma or grandpa dies, you step up and become the new. You maintain it. It's like passing the
But if they
baton.
didn't teach you because they were struggling, because grandma was struggling, because grandpa died and grandma was struggling, so she had to work, so she couldn't really teach the younger generation. They ended up on drugs, and then what the fuck? This is what happened.
They was providing the structure and the example. What I'm looking at is the generation that was supposed to pick up the baton didn't even look at the baton.
A lot of them wasn't taught. That's why.
That's what Camille's saying in the back. Carry the point.
I feel like the baby boomers dropped the ball. I am a Generation X, and baby boomers dropped the ball. They didn't teach us shit. They was just trying to get it's okay that I was like, you know, they talk about Martin Luther King, they talk about the rights they got, they talk about the 70s and the 60s and all that stuff. But when it came down to it, they fucking sold out just to get right to white pussy. You know what I'm saying? They was like, fuck it. You know, we get to go into the Senate and meet white women and get pussy. Fuck it. We just gonna sell out. And what the fuck happens in the damn Senate and Congress for us? Nothing. This is to me what the 70s did, the baby boomers did. They dropped that shit. And then crack hits our streets. And then all this other shit happened where women is, oh, I can't live with a man in order for me to survive. So all this shit is like a snowball to me. It's like a fucking snowball. And you can't really, I can't blame like fully on them, but it's just like, it was like a snowball. They dropped the ball on shit, and then shit get dropped, and then it just snowballs into what the fuck we got right now, where it's normal for me to read shit like a 3 and a 4-year-old, 11-year-old got shot just going trick-or-treating at a Halloween party and shit. Like, that shit shouldn't be normal. Like, this is what I'm saying.
I strongly think that after the 90s hit, I strongly believe that not only did we start dismissing and disrespecting tradition, but I also see that Black people didn't become real estate mongols or get into real estate until after the late 90s, till actually 2000. Now all of a sudden people want to get involved with real estate, but real estate was something that was already always from jump. We let it go.
No,
70s,
but they
80s.
started redlining. You don't remember the redlining? What are you talking about? Like, there are systems put in place for us to be snowballed the way we are right now. The way our generation is behind us is right now was planned out long time ago.
I would agree.
These things happen. Now we have anomalies that come out of it, but you know that's anomalies. You know, we got medium shit like us. We fucking surviving, but we barely. You know what I'm saying? But most of us, most of us below average. Come on, how the fuck you expect us to keep a matriarch and a patriarch?
You can.
It's only one. It's only one. Like they
because
put
I'm gonna show you.
Separate us.
Let me show you something. One thing that I've learned since the 90s, we are conditioned and we got comfortable with excuses.
Facts.
All right.
You are technically correct.
From the 90s forward, I can see a lot of people, because I'm gonna tell you something. It wasn't until my dad died that I learned what administrator of a state was. Been through college and all this shit, but there's certain things that we as Black folks could learn, but we never did. Now look at today. Somebody dies in the family. What's the first thing? GoFundMe. Because nobody wants to discuss about doing a will. Nobody wants to discuss about power of attorney and what happens when the power of attorney expires. You have administrator of the estate. You get what I'm saying? There's so many opportunities and ways to learn about how to manipulate life insurance for that factor. It's not just for when somebody dies, it's also for college education and other collateral things. But we don't know this because we don't want to. And if we would have stuck to tradition, we would have known that, because guess what? This is something that I found very interesting. Matriarch, patriarch, they had something all in common. When you look back at our grandparents, they was married. Let's start with that. They always had 10, 15, 20 kids. He worked, she stayed at home, but they was married. There was an unselfishness involved to keep the family together no matter what.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, brother.
How you doing? How you doing?
This is Simon.
What's going on, Simon? How you doing, my man?
What's up,
you got
Carl?
your mic. Your mic is directly in front of the camera. You can't really see.
Oh shit, man.
There you go, my man. A little bit better.
I'm trying to fix it. I'm getting there.
No worries, no worries.
How you doing?
Go ahead, bro. Good.
I just think we're having kind of like, not being bad, Carl. We're having old school conversations. I've been privy to this myself. Like, my daughter wakes up in the morning and she'll ask you questions. She'll be like, daddy this, daddy that. And what it is kind of funny. It's like a rotation. Because like she goes to school, right? And she goes to a Catholic school. I didn't even want to put that out there, but I'm just saying I'm religious. So it's like, but the funny thing is they're just teaching her the same thing that I was taught about 20 years ago. What? So what are we being taught? You know, so if we're turning around and trying to talk to people about how they're living their life and how they're supposed to do this and that, whatnot, how are we going to make any sort of progression in terms of moving?
Because
moving the needle.
If I may, Carl, if I may, real quick.
Yeah, because I want to make sure you're
talking, but cool.
No, I have to interrupt because
everyone wanted to address that. No. Everyone wanted to piece it out.
I have to, Simon. All respect.
You're gonna make me pick up this cigarette, right?
No. This is what I need you to understand.
Simon, can you move your speaker just a little bit more?
And then I'm gonna go around to Jack because I want everybody to have their input on this. This is starting from the beginning. There's a reason why I put this in an order. Okay, what is a matriarch or patriarch to you? When I say those words, what does that mean to you? And then identify who is the matriarch or patriarch in your family now, and now understanding what that role is. How are you carrying it? How are you trying to support it? How are you contributing towards it? And now I'm gonna play that all into how does that affect today's relationships, economy, children, and faith. So this is a in succession build up because there's other topics that I'm going to get to in connecting to this.
Yeah, I could cut that real short because
all right.
A matriarch really existed previously within a relationship that was pretty much in the 1960s or 1970s when people were in marriages and the matriarch
goes way back before that, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm being modern. Modern.
That's the problem. You motherfuckers want to go modern and forget about tradition. That's the problem.
You want me to be do you want me to go 1920s or something?
It goes back to tribal.
Obviously, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you got an audience, so I'm just saying, I'm trying to be, I'm just trying to be succinct. Yeah, we're you know what I'm saying? Because certain people don't understand it. I mean, goddamn, you want to go back
Short,
to the
1 minute, let's go. Because I'm going to move on to the next. Come on.
It was at this moment that he knew.
Right, so basically, for women or men who are out there who understand matriarchy, It's about the woman being that the head of the household to the extent of them being the married person. It's not anything else. So you got matriarchy and the patriarchy. Patriarchy is the man. The man is the head of the household, and that's how it sort of worked out previously.
Okay, Jackie.
Yes.
Come on in.
Good evening, everybody. The matriarch of my family was my aunt and my mom.
Okay.
They kept the family together. They were the one that always had the big gatherings and made sure we all knew each other, from all the older kids down to the babies.
Okay.
We knew everybody. They're no longer here. So now all of the kids that we were around, I was the one that was the go-to one.
Okay.
So I kind of consider myself now the matriarch because I'm trying to hold whatever is left of all our families. From
the family tree. You're keeping up with the family tree, the events, and the reunions, because the only reunions today are just funerals. So I got you.
Correct.
Who are you training now to be the next next matriarch?
I'm actually training my daughter, the oldest one. She's more head grounded like me with certain things because I instilled in them. Family is everything.
Okay.
Family is everything to us because at the end of the day, we argue, we fight, but at the end of the day, we are still family.
Okay. Because it would be messed up for y'all to be walking around and don't realize y'all related to each other.
Correct. So that's why it was instilled in me like that through my mom and my aunt. So I know everyone. So, and this is why I tell my children, you need to know this person, you need to know this person, because at the end of the day, it's too many. You find out that this girl and this guy is sleeping with each other, and to come to find out, they have different moms, but the same father.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh.
Damn.
So but it's a proven fact. You have some families out here like that. So I try to make sure my family does not happen to occur to end up like that.
When you say you know somebody, what do you mean by that? Do you mean like by name, or do you mean like you actually know somebody?
I actually know a brother and sister through their dad, not their moms. They are
okay. So you know relations from one person to the next. Okay.
Right. They're siblings.
That's what she means. Yeah.
They're sister and brother through their dad. They have different mothers. They actually started dating and they have a baby.
Why I ask that is because most females do this thing. They do this thing where they seem to think they know somebody just based on the fact that there's some sort of connection. But
we're talking about family. We ain't talking about relationship.
This is what I'm trying to extract. I'm trying to extract the whole family conversation because people are in family, but they don't actually know each other. Like I've got brothers and sisters, and they don't actually know each other. So that's what I was trying to do. So I could back off if you want me to, because I know this is
No. I'm glad you brought the clarity in. I just want to stay focused on how many people are not realizing or paying attention. If someone was to walk up to you right now and ask you to do your own family tree, are you able to do it? And I'm not talking about just your brother, sister, mother, father, aunt, and uncle, even beyond that.
Yeah, so I mean, what you're talking about is exactly what I was trying to get to, because it's like, okay, we can extract our family tree, but what does that mean?
Nothing. Exactly. Kinship. See, family is not blood, is bond. Kinship is blood. And I find that we have a tendency of, smushing both of them. That's my family. No, when you get married, you start in your own family, which means that your mother and your father and your siblings are now just relatives. They're not your family. So this idea about a family tree, like for me, my family tree would consist of just me and my kids and their father. Why? Because again, family for me is not blood. My family, somebody who will call me family, would know me inside and out, meaning that they would know my character in a way that they would know what I am capable of and incapable of. You know what I mean?
I think we have different connotations of this. So it's like there's a present life sort of understanding of what family is, and then there's this thing where we're trying to understand where our strains came from. So like if you take the family tree for example, it's like, why are you even thinking about that? Why even dwelling into that? Why even going into it? It's like going, okay, I want to try and understand where I came from as a slave or something, and dwell in and be historical about it. That's not relative to your present life. So,
Simon, if I may, hold on, Simon, if I may. So, are you suggesting that that maybe when we are looking back at our family tree per se, it's for a sense of identity, where we come from and stuff like that?
I'm not saying I'm not saying anything is personal. What I'm saying is that they are two separate things. So
you sure?
Yeah, because if you're trying to, you might have, for example, a child that you had with somebody, and you don't know if they're your child. So you're trying to sort of figure out. So what do? You do a DNA test, or you do the most relevant thing that is relevant now, and that's
shows a relation.
Yeah. So now then you could go, okay, I want to try and figure out where I came from, which is kind of different to your present. So that's a completely different thing, because it's totally different relation in terms of what you're trying to figure out. You can bring them together, but I'm just trying to sort of understand where the conversation.
Let me move a little bit to, now that this is a segue into my next question of how does what everything that we already talked about and all the examples, all the connotations, all the examples are personal experiences and what we're exposed to. How does it all affect today's relationships, economics, children, and faith? And that's why I asked you over if you are sure about what you just said, Simon, because if you, and this even goes to Trinity, when you say before doesn't have no bearing into to now, it does. You know how many Black people right now are getting asked the same question every time they go to a doctor's appointment? Is your family have any history of diabetes, heart conditions? You can't even answer that shit correctly because you don't know. So you lying to the doctor. Your kids is gonna be diabetic because you didn't know you was diabetic because you didn't know your grandfather and father was diabetic. So this
Again,
is why it's
that's
important.
relation. That's not family. That's still relation. That's genetics. That's DNA. That has nothing to do with the family versus kin argument. Meaning, relation. Me in relation to my siblings. Is the relation between us is our parents.
I'm talking about
their parents and their parents and their parents. That's for the physical body, but that's not the I.
No. It's the same. What I want to keep. Go ahead.
That's kind of like a contradiction, to be fair. I'm like, with all due respect, I'm just saying that your last statement was kind of like a contradiction because you said something about like not knowing your family and then knowing your family. What KARL was asking was there a connection? So.
Yes, DNA and genetics for the body. I did make that clear. Knowing your relations with the people in your family to identify things that goes on with the vessel, such as heart conditions, blood pressure, things and so forth. That's simply for the vessel. in that case, I would say yes. Know that history, but not for a thing where I need to know who I am.
No, we're not talking about.
That's what I'm.
For you, no, I'm not talking about for personal identity purposes. What I'm saying, this is all about awareness, tradition. What do you learn from that tradition, and how does it play a role into today, and your children, and your health, and your economic? This is where there's a broken bridge somewhere, because there's some people that still believe in it, and then there's mostly people that don't. And how does that play a role into now? Why we have the relationship issues, men and women? Why?
I think it targets all of those areas, but in very different levels. I think relationships is the biggest part that it hits hard.
Yes.
I think it hits relationships very hard because we don't know how to properly sit and stay in them, because we never watch our uncles and aunts be angry at each other, but all still come back together during Christmas in a house and still make everything, get along, make up, get over whatever issue they have. So right now we internalize everything, and we have a big issue with letting things go. The most minor, minute, tiny little things, we decide to hold on to it. And that's why in relationships, we can't really stay in long-lasting relationships. We find any tiny reason to get out of them.
And
economics, we can't even pull our money together to grow as a family.
Because remember, economically, let's remember now, economically, our grandparents, no matter what is said, today's generation, our grandparents own that house and that land.
How? Carl,
what do you mean,
please
how?
Please do this. No, I'm telling you, please do this. How?
Listen to what I'm saying. Our grandparents, our great grandparents, they had long-term thinking, where today's generation don't have long-term thinking. You understand? That's why we don't own nothing. We rent shit, we borrow shit, we deal with temporary shit, but we don't have home, land that 3 different generations it got passed down to. We don't have that mindset today. This generation don't move like that. That's what I'm talking about.
Don't you find it incredible? I don't know. I didn't want to pose the question to you, but I just find I find it incredibly interesting that you had a whole black population that managed to get from A to B, but couldn't get to C. We managed, meaning we managed to come from nothing to having house, mortgages, buying into the white population, the whole society of life.
We came with a lot of.
Wait, hold on. I'm curious on what he's gonna say. I'm curious about. Finish. Let him finish. I'm curious.
1 second. We've bought into the whole capitalization thing, and then we stopped. We stopped at some point.
Why?
And it's kind of interesting.
Okay.
I find it kind of interesting.
I like what you said.
We have bullshitted our way for the last 40 years to put on a facade.
No, we have
I don't
wait,
think
time
it
out.
was
I don't believe that. I don't believe
Wait,
that.
hold on. Trinity was gonna say something. Trinity, hello?
Trinity, where you at?
I think her mic, she probably accidentally muted herself.
What she was going to say was I was right about what I was
Unmute, Trinity.
The fact is
we bullshitted our way through. If you want to sit here and talk about we came a long way, it may look like that on the surface, Simon, but in overall, we ain't come nowhere because we're not recycling. We don't own nothing.
I don't think that's the point. I think the point is we stopped somewhere, and there was some point which was a pivot, and we allowed women to take over. And this is the problem, not being bad to women. I'm just saying, like, men were in control for a huge period of time, and even through slavery, through to the points that we were building households and we're building economies, and we were like getting on with our jobs, we had our houses. Suddenly we went, okay, we're going to hand this over to the women, and we pivoted.
I don't think it was as simple as that.
No, it wasn't that simple, but
problem.
Now I know what you're saying. Basically, you got to remember something. The monster came in sheep's clothing. Okay? There was people coming in dressed like a man, looked like a man, but wasn't a man. And they're the ones that they the ones that introduced to, because remember something, I want you to look back to your last 10 years. Did you get an email or letter in your mailbox asking your permission, your vote, into watching two black men kissing on television on a commercial? No, they did it without you.
Oh, that's nothing to do.
Listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Meaning, the men that were in charge of the networks, the movies, the television show,
that's a separate conversation.
They allowed. No, it's not. They allowed it.
Right.
They allowed it. Females got where they're at because somebody allowed it.
I'm gonna ponder that for a second, and then I'm gonna come to
relationships.
Right.
Appreciate you guys in chat.
Shout out to M3. Listen, I get where you're coming from. It's mutual with the females, with the cosmopolitan thing, right? But what I'm saying is the males allowed that to happen.
I don't think it was as easy as the males allowed it to happen. You have to understand it was a concentrated effort to remove men from inside of the homes. First, feminism happened to women. War on drugs also happens to the men. Remove a lot of the men from the homes, and then tell women, okay, if a man is found here, you won't get this money. You want this money because it'll make your life easier, wouldn't it? You have to understand, there was a concentrated effort to rip the family apart, remove the man from the house, force the woman to have to be completely on her own and self-reliant.
And this is why my favorite movie today is still Claudine. It goes right to that.
So it's not as easy as like, okay, the men just said, okay, we've built up everything, we're all good, blah blah blah.
Yeah, they didn't go on vacation.
Give it to the woman.
Yeah, they didn't do that.
How do you think that happened?
Trickery, manipulation, lies.
Trickery, manipulation, and
briberies.
So, do you think why was no man around to turn around, and go, okay, we're gonna put something together like some sort of thing like we did in the civil.
No, because now we're talking about money. No matter what you say out your mouth, it always goes back to money. You have a choice. Listen, you have a choice. Right. You have a choice, Simon.
I appreciate you.
You make $1 billion a year selling t-shirts, right? And I'm telling you, if you say one more goddamn word, you're not going to have that company no more. What are you going to do, Simon?
I'm saying there were people that came up with the Black Panthers. How did that happen?
Again, manipulation.
Where did Martin Luther King come from? Where did
Malcolm
X come from? Where did these people come from?
This is all about money and power. No matter what it is, who it is, it always traces back to money and power.
So Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, you're saying they all trace back to power.
It's always about money and power. Even if you listen, let me tell you something.
Money and power.
Let me go back. Let me go back to.
They died for you guys, and you're
no, they didn't die for us. No, they didn't die for us. They didn't die for us. That's bullshit.
No one died for us then.
Listen, this is what you have to realize.
It's a real conversation. It's cool.
This is what you have to realize. When you look at London, Queen of England.
Oh boy.
When you look, when you look at the Rockefellers, the Fannie Mae Foundation, when you look at people that has kept in the family I want you to imagine this.
Do you really want to go there?
Listen, a 10-year-old right now is about to spend money at 21 that his grandfather made 30, 40 years ago. Do you understand that? I want you to understand this concept. You are turning 21.
I'm working out in my head.
And the money that you are about to inherit and receive is money that your grandfather, not your father, your grandfather made.
All right, so what's your point?
We, as black folks, and this goes back, like I said, I was started from the beginning, Matriarch, Patriarch, and how grandma and grandpa stayed married for many years. He worked, he retired, she's a homemaker, and joint efforts, he was teaching the men or the boys how to be husbands, how to be men, how to fix things. He was passing down his tradition. And the women, listen, and the women, listen, bro. And the women were teaching them the recipes, the hair, the cook, all the things that women needed to know to be wives, women, and so forth. Those two, passing that down to all of our aunts and uncles. In turn, all of our aunts and uncles passing it down to their kids, our cousins, and so on and so forth. Until, now mind you, everybody's making money, everybody got their job, they're going through life. But the family structure was intact. When you had a problem, you went to grandma's house. When anytime there was a financial, whatever, it was a network within the family that was stuck together like rice. However, when the 90s came, we're past the feminist movement. We're now in an era where the mindsets change, where people don't believe in traditions, they don't care about it, they dismiss it.
Man, what's up?
And now this is what we have. Women are not trying to do Sunday dinners.
Oh, wait. I thought we was having a conversation about us. No, don't go to the women.
No.
That's
I'm saying it all together because I'm trying to show you in a succession how it's linked together. I'm connecting the whole thing. The women are not concerned with great grandma's recipe. They're not concerned with it. And the men are not teaching the boys how to be men. They're first shaving. That's a certain rites of passage.
No, and see, and I think it's the more important things aren't the more important things aren't about the first shaving or how to tie a tie.
Exactly.
About how to shave your balls hairs. That's we're missing that. All right. The man is supposed to get out and provide a structure, something. You have to go out there, and as a man, you have to suffer and learn to create. No matter
but he was taught and conditioned by the family structure of men before him that passed the baton. Grandpa to father, father to son, and so on. That's my point. Now, when you become, listen, your grandfather passed it to your father passed it down to you, and now you feel you don't give a fuck about neither one of them two. You're gonna do it your way. Who broke the fuck? Hold on. Who broke the chain?
Thank you, Chris.
Who broke the chain?
It's been done on purpose.
No, listen to the question. Grandpa passed it to your father passed it down to you. You pass it down to your son, but he decided to do what he want to do. He don't give a damn about grandpa, father, tradition, fishing, tie. He don't care about none of that crap. He's going to do it his way.
There has to be a reason why he believes he could do it a better way now, though. See, now, okay, wait. Hold on. You also have to see men and girls are growing up in these families where they're seeing like, man, that doesn't look happy at all. He doesn't even get any kind of respect because in this generation we have very low lack of respect for men in general. There
you go.
So little boys are growing up in this house where they don't respect the dad, the mom doesn't respect the dad, the daughter doesn't respect the dad. On the TV, you hear how men are trash. He goes out, he comes back, and he has to be essentially a slave in his own house. So what boy wants to now grow up, marry, and go through that? Because he's now thinking, I don't want to do that. I could probably just live in an apartment, make my money for myself, and I'll be fine. And now a daughter is also thinking like, man, a man is like, I want kids, but what the hell is the point of a man?
They're thinking like single people.
Around.
Exactly. Because they don't want to respect what was before them, regardless of what they
it's
think
not even
now.
about wanting to respect it. Like what you have to respect something if you see that it has value.
No, it's the selfishness. Remember I said earlier, grandma went through bumps and bruises.
If you see that everyone is okay, all right, so it's an age-old saying, I hate using it, but I'm going to use it. If you see everyone jumping off the bridge and it's a respectful thing to do, you're going to jump off the bridge because it's respectful?
If you are listening if you're listening to a woman that's been married 40, 50 years, even though there's good and bad times, secrets, whatever, but you see that house that's been there for 3 generations, all our Thanksgiving dinners are there, all our memories, our family trees, reunions. Why the hell would you dismiss and throw that all away so you can have your own little private thing at your house with people that don't give a fuck about you?
Because those other 300, instead of just Christmas, they're looking at the other 364 days of the year where mom and dad were arguing. Dad got on her nerves. She's talking to her daughter about how he's sometimes not even a good man, blah, blah, the XYZ, this and that. Like all this plays into why kids don't want to continue.
And and I heard what you said earlier. It's about the brainwashing, because remember we had examples that was taken away. When you look at the Cosby Show, the Family Matters, my wife, because there are family structures that they're taken off the screen because they prefer to put the LGBT and transgender and all this other crap. Right. They'd rather put that out there than what was helping and contributing to our mindsets. This is all design.
No, Simon.
No.
Elaborate, please elaborate, Simon. I am genuinely curious on your thought process.
Oh God, like Christ Almighty.
You got to pick a side, Simon. Either you're gonna go for the 2 gay men kissing on TV, or you're gonna go with Family Matters or My Wife and Kids. I mean, come on.
I have to do shit. What I have to do is be me. That's the fact.
All right, there we go with the selfish mentality. There you go. There you go. There you go.
I am selfish. I am selfish. I will tell you that.
Well, then you're fitting right into the narrative.
I do know where I stand. That's different. I am selfish. I will be selfish, but I do know where I stand, and I stand with my brothers. And the fact is my brothers might not agree with me on everything I say in this present time. That's a difference.
Simon, you're not contributing. All you're doing is being selfish, and you're not contributing to the tradition that the black men before you maintained so you can be here.
Really?
Yes. And if you spent more time with your family tree and your history, you would know the tribe that was born. That's what they did.
I know more than you know. Like,
you got more freedom in your life, and now you think you got it figured out. But if you did some research, I'm telling you.
Hold it for a second. I'll break your ass right down. When you're talking about freedom, what are you talking about? You're trying to tell me about freedom.
Because you don't
parents, know. Right? Hold it. You got parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have parents. I raised myself, my nigga.
Even so, it doesn't matter.
No. You raised by parents.
It doesn't matter.
I raised myself.
That does play a big factor.
No, it plays.
No. Wait. Hear me out. It plays a big factor because He only knows to only trust and rely on him. Carl, just let me finish. He only knows and to trust and rely only on solely himself. So he's always going to be looking out for just himself. That's the bottom line.
I get it. I'm the only child, so I can relate to that.
No. Listen, just hear me out. Hear me out. He cannot see putting his neck out for someone else, because in the end of the day, he has to make sure he survives, and that's just his only thinking. I need to survive. If I have a child, I would try my best to make that child survive. But in the end of the day, I need to survive, and that's it. It's just me.
So if you're gonna take that stand, and you subliminally pass that on to your next generation of children,
it's worked though. To him, the thing is, to him, it's worked. It's got him to this point. So why is it a flawed logic? I understand what he's saying. It's not flawed because it got him to this point. It got the child here. So what's wrong with the way he did? And I'm just saying, I understand what he's saying, and that his logic is not flawed. It's got him this far, and he's surviving just like we are. So what's the problem?
I'm not rude to anybody. Do you get what I'm saying? I really try to understand everybody. The fact of the matter is that some people, like, I'm not being rude. I'm just saying, like, you're not open. You're not even understanding what I'm talking about because you can't. Like, I'm telling you, you're privileged. You're privileged. Like, I have not had the privilege that you have had. So therefore, why can't you turn around and just be open a smidge to turn around and understand what I'm talking about? I'm not trying to be opposite to you.
I get that, Simon.
At the end of the day, listen, I'm a guy that survived stuff that you have never survived before. You might think that I'm coming from another place and another land and whatnot. I'm trying to sort of turn around and just open myself out, and I have done since I was like 19 years old because I had to. Like, my mum died when I was 16 years old. I had to. Like, there's been no one around for me. I don't know my father. I survived by myself. I become a high privileged man, right? I earn more than any other of these trolls that want to come on here and troll and turn around and go, oh, I earn this, I earn that. I don't care about that sort of shit. The fact of the matter is it is what it is. I'm a black man, like you are a black man. You should be in like a line with me and going, okay, this guy's a fucking person that I can align with and show you as an example rather than trying to come at me, because I don't understand this whole.
See, that's the thing. I'm not coming at you. What I'm trying to get to understand is this. My position has always been maintained since I was taught how to be a man. And one of the things that I've learned is I'm trying to be more allergic to excuses, and because I see that's an easy conditioning.
All right. So when you say excuses, what's the relation? I don't.
Let me just add one thing. Carl, you said something very important. You said, as far back as I can remember, when I was taught how to be a man, you also have to understand he never even had the privilege of learning these tiny little aspects of how to be a man. He had to survive,
and that's the
survival comes with its own traits that were learned and picked up.
And that's the purpose why I picked this topic, because we are escaping the awareness. The awareness is this. I'm an only child. Both parents deceased. He lost his mother when he was a teenager. He doesn't know his father. Regardless of both ends of the stick and other people going through their trial and tribulation, none of us have an excuse not to learn and be aware of what before us that would help us today, help us learn, help us build, help us know how to be. Because before does have a big part into today. If Simon right now did some research and said, damn, I came from this type of family. If he really went into it and said, okay, this is what I came from. This is what I can learn from. Will that help him today? Of course.
Why? Why would that help me? It didn't help me in the first place. I made myself. I'm made. I don't need you. I don't need anybody.
Because
Simon, let me ask you something. Simon, let me ask you something. If you took a test and failed, and you were going to take that test again, would you look at the old sheet to try to see what you remembered from it, or are you going to go into the new one blank again?
Depends what kind of test and why I want it.
Come on, man! Don't try to weasel your way out of this one. You know exactly what I'm asking.
Right. So it depends on what I'm saying. Is it's a feeling thing. That sounds like a feeling thing to me. Like so.
A feeling thing. If you know that you're going to take a test that you've already taken before.
Yeah, because tests are feelings. They're not like you take tests because you want to get somewhere. Like your life is not built like that. Like I didn't go through life feeling that everything's a test. Things happened organically. It was have
you ever been around a crackhead?
I've been around a couple of crackheads and I see.
Okay, so being around a crackhead, you know not to do crack, right? Because you already seen what it done to other people. I watched my father become an alcoholic. That's why today I still don't drink, because I don't want to follow the outcome that he had. You understand? So you learn from the before to help you now.
No, that's wrong. What happens is
wrong. I'm using logic. It's not a right or wrong, Simon. This is logic.
No. That's problematic. This is the problem with the black community. What you do is you take one set of circumstances and you relate it to everything.
No, you take what you see. You take what you see and what you're exposed to, and you learn from it to see what.
I don't even want to bring up her name. I had this whole conversation with someone earlier on today, and she related me. I was having a conversation with her. She might even be listening. I don't really want to do that. But I'm just saying, like, she had a experience with a black man, and she related it to me. And I was overseas, and I was like, look, you can't do that. You can't do the like for like thing. Like, in terms of, okay, you've experienced something with somebody, and then turn around and say, like, I'm like that person just because, like, you know, you've had that previous experience. I relate this to, like, you know.
I'm glad you're helping me segue this whole thing, because you're going into my. Hold on, listen, Simon. You don't even realize it or not, but you're going into. You're going into a segue of the next one, which is what we want to do, what we have to do, and what we choose to do. And how this affect our long-term needs. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, like,
do you understand that?
Of course I do. Yeah.
What we need, what we have, and what we choose. Three different things.
I talk to the lead attorney. Look, what I'm going to say to you, right? Is, like, when I was a younger brother, I learned a lot of things. Like. And the stuff I do right now on YouTube, you can go to my channel. Like, I play my tracks. Those tracks are from like 20 years ago. They're not even from like day dot. But it's a lesson still that's prevalent in this day and age. And, you know.
How? It's 20 years old.
How?
Yeah.
This is the problem.
You just contradict yourself. You're telling me about a track from 20 years ago, and now.
Okay.
Didn't you just say that?
Nothing has changed in the sense that when you're talking about Martin Luther King and Dr. You know, whatnot, it could be sort of seen like that. And that's why the younger generation do not pay attention, because you're not spending enough time to actually sit down and try to relate to the young people. What's going on is we're going to blame them. We're going to blame the young generation.
Nobody's blaming them. Listen, brother, if I sat down right now with a 15, 16, 17-year-old and showed them a book of matches, they won't even know what that. They don't even know what to do with that.
A woman or a girl? or boy.
It doesn't matter.
Or boy or man. It doesn't
Brother,
matter.
listen.
what
Hold on.
you're saying
Stop, Simon. I did this experiment already with 2 teenage kids I had. I set out a cassette tape. You know them fuses that you used to screw in so the house can have electricity? I showed them one of them. They don't have no clue. I'm trying to teach, but I can't teach if they don't want to learn. But so, guess what? What I'm teaching you is something that existed even before me that can help you later survive if you have to. But you don't want to learn it. You dismiss it. And with the phone. But what happened when technology disappeared? If right now, if cell phones went dead, Facebook, all the social media, a lot of people don't know how to survive.
Brother Carl, you need to have
shout out to Rosa in the chat
with us. That's all I can say. I mean, I've had conversations with other people, like on my local level, like in the same sense that what you're saying, and I can relate to what you're saying. But I'm just saying, it's not that. It's not.
If you took away cell phones, lighter, and half, not all, half the technology, do you know how many? Listen. Do you know how many black people don't even have the basic skills to survive?
Yeah, stop the cap. Why are you even saying that?
Because it's the truth.
Yeah, but why are you even saying that?
Because if you don't take the time out to learn the basics.
Listen, we're not in
Listen, man.
Not in the North Korea
No.
Right now,
listen,
right?
I need you to understand what I'm saying instead of being quick to respond. If you do not possess, remember back when I was a kid, I remember they used to have boys club and Boy Scout, Girl Scout. Exactly.
No, we do that.
If you don't have the basic skills to survive, you understand? I'm talking about some real MacGyver shit. You remember that TV show? How to take something and make something. You understand what I'm saying? You can't even do that because you are conditioned and enslaved on this.
Listen, when Kevin,
you can't spell. Hold on, you can't spell because unless your phone got spell check, you messed up.
Listen, when Kevin Samuel started talking about the island,
Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls is in my neighborhood, bro. You know, like our little ones grew up with him. I used to work on the farm. I worked on the farm for 2 years, bro. And I did that scout shit, and I could do that on YouTube.
Simon, let me ask you something. What do you think the state of the black community is?
In what?
In
general, global,
in general, in Western society, in places where Western ideology is prominent.
I just think it's just a mixed bag. I mean, I think we're all. I mean, I see black people from all types of different areas, and like we all got our own sort of, you know, ideas, and you know, it's just like any other community.
In the state of when it comes to relationships, that's what I'm asking.
Relationships is difficult because black women are a bit difficult.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Really, Simon, I don't like that because the first thing you went to is black women. Like you ain't paying attention. Hold on. No, because if you're gonna say answer a question, be neutral. Don't sit there and say, well, a black woman is difficult because these guys are, bruh. But see, this is where the problem is. You're sitting here, you're quick to say the black woman, but you're not looking at the guys with their stomach hanging over their dick, the guys that don't see their doctor, erectile dysfunction at 30. You're not saying about that. So if you're gonna say something about relationships, say both. Don't say it like it's all the woman's fault.
What's that got to do with anything?
Emotional damage.
Listen, women from every community will put up with all of the stuff that you actually spoke about exactly the same way that black women will not.
I see a lot of motherfuckers living off of women.
That's good, but I'm just saying.
I see a lot of dollar store dudes. I see a lot of dollar store dudes. I see a lot of Jodies from Baby Boy. That's what I see.
It's not a bad thing. I'm just saying, like,
it is a bad thing because that's not what we're designed to be. Is Baby Boy, Jodies, living off of women, moving in with women. We're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, okay, you're not, but it happens. And the fact of the matter is that doesn't necessarily. No black woman's gonna make a black man just move into their house. That's
a man should feel uncomfortable with even the notation of moving in with a woman.
Yeah,
that he's not married to, that he's sleeping with, that he got a child with. He should feel embarrassed and totally against it.
Yeah, he should. But that's not really helping the black community in terms of like black women and what their status is right now, because most of the black women out here right now are not moving black men into their house. They're not. They're trying to get to their bag. They're trying to.
I don't know if you realize, but that was going on from 1990 to 2015.
Yeah, of course. But
and a high percentage. That was common. In the hood, out the hood. Black men was moving in with women.
They were because of that certain type of situation, which was a governmental situation.
No, it wasn't. It was laziness, convenience,
no,
manipulation.
No. You can't put black men in that sort of situation. You're trying to tell who's manipulating who.
I'm looking at it. Listen, when I look at 90% of black men in New York City moving in with chicks because they got good jobs too. These are New York City correction officers, sanitation workers, MTA employees. It doesn't matter how good money they make.
Yeah, but who is manipulating?
Listen to what I'm getting ready to say. The woman got Section 8 and her rent is only $200. Of course he wants to move in so he can stack his paper.
When I talk to you got to get on a bit of a higher level. Who was manipulating who?
The man was manipulating the woman to his benefit.
No, wait. Why are we having to cope with our black women thinking that Section 8 housing is okay? When they don't even understand that they can live in a house where there's 2 bedrooms.
I told you this earlier. On both sides, black women and men, the conditioning from the 1990s till now has been complete laziness. We don't want to own nothing. We want to rent.
Miseducation.
Miseducation?
Yeah, on behalf of the fact that people do not want to struggle enough to actually educate ourselves. We don't want to actually come into our communities and actually put across a real plan that's actually going to work. Every time I've come into these spaces and I've tried to communicate with people and tried to operate with people and tried to communicate with people and say, look, I'm going to try and help you or do something, it always becomes a problem. No one wants to do anything. You want to always backtrack and go, okay, this is what happened here. This is what happened here. I'm like, look, this is 2022. It's like, look,
Simon, I need you to travel more because I'm going to tell you something. If you come in the United States, I don't care if you're in LA, Texas, Chicago, New York, Jersey, Florida, Atlanta. You know who you see coming into this country, buying property, running businesses?
I do agree.
They're not
with
black
Simon.
people. They're Chinese.
I agree with Simon. I agree with Simon, honestly, because what he's saying does hold merit. It actually does carry weight. There is typically a majority of black people don't choose to work together. They don't choose to work with each other. They don't choose to build together. Yes, we look at each other as the ops all the time. Always.
Yes.
We look at everyone, and we look at everyone that way, especially each other. So
we don't want to do no leg work. We don't want to own the grocery store in the corner.
Listen, bro, me, you, Clement, I could turn around to you tomorrow and go, look, we 3 brothers, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do? You know, outside of this, what do you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, most of the time, the answer would be, I don't know. One of us is going to come up with, an idea. Okay, let's do this. Okay. Are we going to pull through with it? I don't know. I damn well know for sure. I'm the type of guy, I will pull through with it. Listen, I don't play. I don't play.
No, I'm not. I get what you're saying.
That's one thing most people know about me. Do not play. Like, I will go on this. If I say something, I will do it. I will do it on and 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 on. And that's the Elon Musks of this world, the Steve Jobs of this world. That's these white people you look up to.
But
that's
to
how
your
they
but
operate.
Simon, to your point,
If you want to do
you
something,
are right.
do it.
To your point,
do it. Click.
Simon, you are exactly right to a point. And this is the black person's mindset for a lot of people. We can get together and come, hey, I got an idea. You know when that idea fizzles, stop, and where people don't unite? Yo, Simon, I need 10 grand to get this idea off the ground. Simon gonna be like, well, I gotta put up 10 grand. Because I don't have 10 grand. When you talk about money with black people, they don't want to talk to you no more. I need 10 grand from you, Simon. I need 5 grand from Clement, and I'm going to put another 10 up in order for this idea to come up. Now we can be partners in this shit. You the only one sitting there saying, man, I don't have 10 grand. I can't help you. And Clement is like, listen, bro, I just finished paying my rent. We got a problem.
No, I've done that to multiple people, and they've still gone over to other people. I've literally put it out there. I've had conversations with people, and I've said,
would it at that point come down to how you're modeling? Would it because I mean, if you're saying that you've done that over and over and over, and every single time you've gotten the same answer, at that point in time, could it come down to how you're modeling that approach?
It's not for everybody. I'm just saying, like,
that's a
it's happened. It's happened. So it's no. Look. I don't know if you've ever seen a program on UK channel networks, BBC, called Dragon's Den. Like, if you're an investor, you invest. That's what you do. You invest. So it's like you sort of pick. Like, so if someone pitches to you and goes, "Oh, I've got this idea. I want to do this, whatnot."
I just need your money.
Well, it's not as simple as that. They have to have a business plan. But it's just like, you need to know that they have the acumen to do that, right?
Okay.
So it's just like, okay, I'm going to invest in you. Okay, I'm going to invest in you. Cool, whatever.
Right.
I want my return back. Okay, so
I need your money, and you get 20% back.
Come on, let's be real. Come on, let's just.
I understand what you're saying.
Do you? Do you know what business is?
I run one. I think I should know.
All right. What kind of business have you run?
For the last 25.
Oh boy! Come on, guys! Not the pissing contest. Not
no,
the pissing
I'm just
contest.
saying.
No. It's not.
I'm
this
saying
is
this.
going to be really good for the audience.
I'm saying this because I know the ins and outs and the downsides of certain things. That's why I've been in business for the last 20 plus years.
All right. So, what kind of business is it? Is it a limited company? Is it LLC? Is it sort of like
no? It's just about 30 something ex police officers or retired police officers, if you want to call it.
No. You don't need to go in and out of it. I just want to know the business model. So
the LLC or
we bodyguard, yeah.
LLC, limited company.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
LLC.
LLC. Yeah.
So you're running that company, right?
20 plus years.
Okay, so the liability is on what? The company.
Right, not me directly or personally.
Exactly. So this is what we need to educate people on in terms of, like, if you're going to actually go into things, and if you're actually going to be in business with people, and if you're actually going to set up anything. I just think that's where we've got to start. We've got to start with the basics, because most people don't actually understand that sort of stuff. You know, when you're sort of working with sort of like company, which is how this framework works, it's company. Like, and you're sort of having to work with like 10, 20 people a day and sort of manage their own mortgages. You're not only actually sort of managing your own mortgage, you're managing their mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's a different sort of thing. Okay, so I'm not in opposition with you. I understand where you're coming from. I'm just trying to. We're now in a higher playing field, right? I'm not the stupid nigga from overseas that's trying to dox you or do some bullshit.
Oh my God! Yo, put the mic back in front of your face. No, no, I mean, you know, I learned a lot, and I saw the transitions. I would say the late 90s and all the way up to like 2010. A lot of people was discussing more so after 2010. It became growing. Everybody was talking about LLCs and how to run their own business and this and that. You started seeing more Black people getting educated about it, reading on it. But we still, and I say this again, we still like the shortcuts. We don't want to go to school. We don't want to do the real legwork. When I look at how an African or Chinese, Oriental of any sort, when I look at an immigrant come here and open up a business, I'm talking about a legitimate business, a store. Whether it's a barber shop, a laundromat, a liquor store. I'm trying to sit here and count how many Black people actually own. And when I mean own, I'm not talking about managing. I said own the property and the business.
I think it all comes down to mindset as well, man. Like, okay, so hear me out. You're talking about a group of people that usually aren't working together, right? Usually aren't going to take risks because they're all suffering some sort of self-esteem because of how they grew up.
Correct.
So now, what are the chances that they're going to take a risk on themselves to try to open up a business? Those immigrants are coming here. They went through a lot.
They've been licensed, yes.
And they're saying that, okay, I have no idea how I'm going to figure this out. I'm just going to buy the business and I'm going to figure it out.
There you go.
That's pure self-confidence. That's self-esteem. That's high self-esteem. You need to be sure that you're going to figure it out. You have no idea what you're doing, but you're going to learn how to swim on the fly. You're going to build it while you fly it.
That's the thing.
A lot of people, a lot of us, and a lot of the younger generation growing up are growing up in a fractured home. So the biggest thing is they're not growing up with that sure sense of self, that self-esteem, man. Like it's huge, it's big.
And this is why I contradict that, because and this is going back to Simon discussion earlier. There are people that went through hell, right, in their upbringing and so forth. But one thing I could say about different ethnic groups as opposed to the Black folk, when you go to DR, when you go to Puerto Rico, when you go to Mexico, when you go to Jamaica, wherever, you see a lot of people married for a long time, family oriented, the same thing that we started this on. Matriarch, patriarch, family, structure, all of that. And now when little David decides at 22, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to become an engineer so this way I can build buildings. Now this motherfucker's in New York making over 100-something grand a year. You get what I'm saying? Free rent because he made the design of the building, so he lives in there for free. You understand? He's sending money back to his family. We don't have this mentality.
I think we missed the point. I think we need to look to the immigrant.
They're embarrassing us, in my opinion, because
exactly that's why we need to look to them.
We should be totally.
Listen.
I remember during the pandemic, I've set up my own shops and stuff. I know how hard that is. It's tough. It's not easy. And even when I sort of set my shop, there, like the whole neighborhood, the whole community sort of came around me. They were like, looking at me and going, "Oh, how come this guy is sort of like setting up this shop, and usually is this type of person or whatnot, and blah blah blah." And I did it from another angle because I was doing it from an educational angle, and I was trying to support people, who had learning disabilities, try to get some work. But I learned so much from just the whole setup, and I met a lot of my neighbors, which meant that I understood when you get a shop, right, you want to go out, you got it out. But what I did with young people that I worked with, I sort of made them go out, and I made them paint out, and I made them make it a creation that made it part of them, which made that the community.
Well, I saw a guy that owned Uber Eats during the pandemic. He made a killing. DoorDash made a killing during the pandemic. You understand? Everybody exploited the pandemic for their own wealth and benefit. It took the pandemic for people to dig deep, to become creative and motivated. Because everybody was LLC and running their own business and they was getting in their mind. They could have been done this shit.
Did you do anything during the pandemic?
No, I laid up in my house and went on shopping sprees, man. I bought a pool table, Miss Pac-Man. I was comfortable. Shit. There was no concerts going on. There was no parties. There was no clubs. So there was nothing for me to do. I thought, let me tell you something.
Apart from help the community. Okay.
Let me say this. I'm gonna tell you how cocky I got. I used to come up with this slogan that I would never be out of business as long as they're selling alcohol. And I'm gonna tell you why. As long as there's a sale of alcohol, club, party, private event, catering hall, diner, I'm never out of business because you always need a big black guy with a gun as security. You understand? When the pandemic hit, it was the first time that I had to look in the mirror and say, you know what? You fucked up, right? Let me tell you something, guys. The first 3-4 months, I was like, all right, I got enough. I got credit. I got all this. When it got 6 months and a year, whoa, what the fuck? Oof. I just bought a boat. What the fuck?
I just bought a boat.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, shit. And then now, this is the bad part. When after the pandemic is over, now we're post-pandemic, it felt like, it's like you didn't graduate the 12th grade, so you got to repeat the whole grade again. Mm-hmm. That's what it felt like. I got to remember all the shit I forgot in the last 2 years because I was apart from the industry.
2 years.
There was no communication, so I had to start all over again.
2 years.
And it got to the point now where I'm sitting here saying, I'm tired of this shit. I should retire because it's been a long 20 plus years. And that's where I'm at. Now I'm thinking about retirement because it's not the same no more.
What's not the same anymore?
The industry, the entertainment industry. I mean,
so what would you like to see again?
It was a better networking before the pandemic as opposed to since the pandemic, because a lot of things replaced the concerts when they started doing the verses. There's no reason to do concerts if you got verses. There's a lot of things.
We've always, I'm just talking from a sense of coming from the entertainment industry. We've always made money primarily off concerts.
But see,
made money off recordings or anything.
The pandemic allowed people to find more effective and better ways to make money without the overhead costs.
What's happened is the power's gone more into the artist's hand.
No, they just learning that. Yeah.
So, but the artist has to learn how to manage that, because what they've always done is pander to maybe an A&R or, you know, a manager or someone else, a representative. So now we're in a situation where it's like you need to figure out for yourself. The benefit is we as artists are in the best position to actually cooperate with each other and speak to each other. But I think with artists, the whole thing, why we needed to go to an A&R or a manager or some external force is because we weren't able to communicate in the first place.
Well, again, you need to travel more. Over here in the United States, especially on this East Coast, there's a lot of bitterness going on. And the reason being is because a lot of them got duped into these so-called industry parties, which goes like this. Yo, Simon, you got a new song you trying to get on? Give me $100. You can come perform on the stage. I'm going to have XYZ there. Ain't nobody big, but I'm going to have XYZ. And that's it. Do your thing. You got 15 minutes. And that's it. Now, I'm gonna get about 15, 20 Simons paying me $100 each. And then the people coming to the show, I'm charging them $20 at the door.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to let the venue keep whatever they make on the liquor. Ain't going to be no damn food. And guess what? You will not be recognized because there's no A&R, there's no big record company, there's no TV news. So you just went up there showcasing your shit for nothing. You paid me $100 to do it. That's a hustle.
Yeah. They're doing that on YouTube. You know, I know for sure there's people that, you know, I put my videos out and people are mirroring and doing some scam shit on my videos.
This is why everybody's turning to YouTube and any other social media platform that's free. Because as you just realized, what's his name? Elon Musk. He just bought Twitter. What he's doing? Oh yeah, we're gonna start charging y'all niggas $20 a month. You know what's coming next? Instagram and Facebook. You get what I'm saying? Now where you gonna put on your showcase of your raps or your creativity or whatever? Because you got to pay for it.
Damn, they're eradicating the middle class. That's what that means.
Exactly. 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 It's the have and have nots. There you go, Clement. That's it. It's the have or have nots.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
When I saw that this morning, was it yesterday? When I saw Elon Musk is going to charge $20 to have a Twitter account, a verified Twitter account, I said, you know what? Watch what Instagram, Facebook, and the rest of them do.
They're all going to follow suit.
Come on.
He's going to charge $20? Elon said that?
Yeah, he's charging $20 for verified accounts on Twitter.
Oh, a verified account.
Well, verification, but basically it's going to cost people to have a Twitter account. It's not going to be free anymore.
Damn.
Yeah. So of course, other social media is going to follow suit because why not?
Yeah.
If people are making money off of these free Instagrams and Facebook, I mean, real business, people are waking up and saying, you know what? I can sing, I can dance, I can talk, whatever. I can get on this Instagram for free every Tuesday and Thursday. I could put my CashApp down, my Venmo, and so on. And that's it. And depending on how many likes and more people and so on, how you think Kevin Samuels became popular and the Derek Jacksons and the rest of them? That's all they had to do. They ain't certified in nothing. They don't have no degrees and shit. They just had a whole bunch of likes.
And that was it. But now, I mean, if the average person, like a small account like mine, you know, trying to grow organically.
You're effective because see, you're not attacking and you're not staying on one thing. See, some of these cats is all about just attacking women or just attacking men and relationship and say you veer out to other angles that all connect.
Yeah, because I believe they all are valuable. They're all
Mhm.
there.
And it is.
But now, if they say, okay, we're gonna start charging, if YouTube's gonna start charging, now an account like mine is now I'm being like, if I'm not verified, if I'm not making money on it, if I'm not at least making the bare minimum $20 a month out of it, then it's a waste of time. Then I'm losing money. Then I could be doing something more productive with my time.
What it is that, like y'all was saying, it's the have and have nots.
Yeah.
You know, if you believe in your product that well, then like you said, you would invest in it. Just like we said earlier, these guys came across seas and said, I'm gonna open up a laundromat. I don't know how much money I'm gonna make, but damn it, I got 2 cars, a wife, and 3 kids, and they all in college. Shit.
I need to. It needs to happen, and it's going to work. It's going to work, and that's it.
You know what I'm saying? And these are people that's coming from less than what they're privileged to here. They didn't have house, cars, and all of that crap. All they had was their family and their tradition.
Yeah.
Which is what this was based on in the first place. Your family and tradition and how it plays into now, your economic, your relationship. It does. Everything connects.
It does. All of this stuff connects, and it all essentially what I'm starting to realize now in my 30s, you know, about to be 31 in February. Family. I'm starting to now truly understand how important family is, and how you know what it is, because as a plumber, I go in and out of these wealthy people's homes. You know, I work for a 5-star company. You know, so we only do upper middle class and above. I'm always going into these people's houses, and when I worked for different companies, I'd always go into, and I always noticed this with the Indians and the Asians. In a 1-bedroom apartment or in a huge 6-bedroom mansion, or 20-bedroom mansion, they're all together.
You've never seen any of them
all together.
This is I know this has to trip you out if you ask yourself the question. Have you ever seen a single baby daddy? They don't believe in that shit.
Yeah, they don't.
Baby mama, baby daddy, you know, child support. They don't. What the fuck are you talking about, dog?
Well, I mean, they're a lot more responsible. You know,
Bingo.
Sex is not a sport.
Bingo. And that's what I say, why the tradition. I don't care about modern versus tradition. The tradition.
You know what? I got a bone to pick with you now, Carl. All right, because yesterday on that live, you were saying, "Oh yeah, you know, if you don't, you know, it requires dick discipline."
Oh yeah,
you know, that means you gotta wear a condom, or
no, he threw that out there.
He threw that. You said at least eat out the box or something, right?
Hey,
no, at all. Don't put yourself in that predicament.
True, I'd say that too. But if you have to, you
don't have to. What? Okay, so and that's where my point of contention is.
When
do you have to?
Listen. What I mean by that, I was picking at him because for every excuse he kept bouncing out, I said, well, let's compromise. You don't have to bust in her. You can just eat the pussy and leave.
No. You keep telling him that's wrong.
I'm telling him because, see, he thinks...
If a child keeps reaching in that cookie jar after you told him don't reach in the damn cookie jar,
yeah,
you don't compromise and say, okay, you would have 2 cookies. No. You don't compromise. You don't compromise with the ops, man.
Yeah. Well, see, I was only being that way because the more he kept talking, I know it's gonna sound a little sick the way I'm saying it, but I thought about my grandmother. I couldn't have cookies before dinner. But when she was making it in that batter bowl, remember how she used to, you know, after she makes it, the little whatever around the bowl, she'll let you lick that's what I was looking at. That was the compromise. I couldn't have no cookie, but you'll let me lick the bowl.
No, and see, I think that the problem is we compromise so much. We find every excuse to not be responsible, but we find every excuse to also have sex.
Yeah. I was against them.
As a man, we can't go too long without sex. As we're human, so we have to have sex. But you can't not sleep with someone. Like, what are we like? We're animals in the end of the day, so we have to follow our natural. You find every damn excuse to try to have sex.
Yep.
Get an STD, get pregnant, have a child out of wedlock, screw up your home, screw up
other people's home,
screw up a chance of a happy relationship. There's way too many excuses that goes on when it comes to having sex.
Creating bitterness and all kinds of chaos.
And lack the ability to forego pleasure.
The only thing that I wanted to interject in that conversation yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to, was their definition of alpha male, alpha female, and all that crap. They don't even have the understanding of what alpha means. Alpha has nothing, in no way, shape, or form of connection to relationships with humans. It doesn't. When you say alpha, there's no such thing as an alpha male. There's an alpha animal male, but you can't cross-reference the animal into man. When you look up the word alpha, they're talking about the dominance and so forth, but they're more talking about the life of an animal. They're not talking about men and women. No way when you look up alpha definition. But we made it that way. Oh, I'm an alpha male, I'm an alpha female. No, you're not. You don't even know what the word means and how it's applied. It's not applied to men and women.
It's more, I guess they try to coin that term because it's
it sounds cute to them. It sounds masculine and powerful.
It just sounds good. Yeah.
I never understood why people are so bent on I'm an alpha male. What that mean? You dominate women? That's a big red flag if you going around saying you dominate women. No, that's why you don't have no peace and no cooperation. Because you're too busy trying to dominate. Now, in the world of animals, when you talk about the tiger, the lions, and the elephants, and so on, they dominate because they're in survival mode in the jungle. We're not in a jungle where we need survival mode. All we have to do is say, hello, my name is KARL. Why I gotta dominate?
I think the mental dynamics are still there, though. I do believe that the mental dynamics are still there in the aspect of you don't need to dominate per se, as in physically.
Well, that's the only way. That's the only way, because guess what? When you look at animals, right? And this is why I wish Doc was here. He'll tell you that when animals go to have sex, they take it.
Yeah.
If we did that shit, we go to jail.
Right. Yeah.
You understand? There's a difference.
But that's not to say that there are some similarities that we still carry over from
that we want to mimic.
It's not that we want to mimic, it's just instinctual. You don't need to tell a man that he needs to protect a woman.
Oh no,
he instinctively knows that.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying.
But it's a learned behavior, because remember, when we come into this world,
you don't need to teach a boy that he wants to have sex with a woman.
He doesn't even know what that is. That's a learned behavior too.
Sex?
Yes. It's a learned behavior.
The urge to want to procreate?
That's a learned behavior.
The urge to want to procreate?
Bro, you're not thinking about that before 5 years old. You're not even thinking about that before 7 years old. The curiosity between 5 and 10 is even recognizing your body parts and what they do.
I think if you left a man inside of a cave by himself, yes, it's not recognizable. But the second he sees a member of the opposite sex, he will get a pull and have no idea why, but he will get a pull and an attraction towards that person.
You could put a 7-year-old kid, a 7-year-old boy, and a 5-year-old girl or 7-year-old girl in the same room together, and I swear to God, nothing sexual will come out of it.
Okay. So now, if you put a 15-year-old boy and girl in that same room by themselves,
Because we're past puberty, so now the curiosity.
Well, of course, and that's all that happens.
But it's a learned behavior because of what they learned between.
What I'm saying is, it's not learned. It's not learned. It's just biological. Biologically, you want to procreate.
You're not thinking about procreating at 15. You're just trying to get the pleasure, but you're not thinking about procreation and the responsibilities that go behind it. You're not thinking that way. All you're thinking about, hey, well, when the boy is in the shower, he's, oh, wait a minute, this is cum. When he realized he know how to do that, he don't even know what it means. He's learning.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? And later on, as he be around the boys in the locker room and, this, that, and third, the first kiss to a girl, he still don't know nothing about procreation and all that. He heard about it.
It's an urge. And what I'm saying, it's an urge, man.
He's not thinking about family and I'm going to get this woman, she's going to be my wife, be pregnant and have kids, and I'm going to get a job. That's not it. After puberty, from puberty on, you're thinking about just having fun, the pleasure that you get from it, because you're realizing, hey, wait a minute, I did this 3, 4, 5, 10 times, and all this came out of me. What the hell? Just like with a woman, with a girl, she don't know what the wait a minute, that shit, sensation. And then you understand the pleasure of it. That's why I used to tell people, when you learned about sex, the average person, when they learn about sex, the first thing they learn is the pleasure, not the responsibility. The responsibility comes later because you have to learn that. All you learned was the pleasure. But when you 4 or 5 years old, you don't know nothing about no pleasure. Prior to 7, 8 years old, you don't know nothing about jerking off and eating pussy and none of that shit. Until you started sneaking around and watching, TV, movies.
I don't know. We're gonna have to put a pin in this one. We're gonna have to put a pin in this one, okay?
All
right. Because we are over the 2-hour mark.
No problem. I enjoyed it.
Thank you for hosting. It's been great.
I had fun with Simon. I'm glad he helped me segue my topic.
Spiraled,
yeah.
But yes, it definitely was here.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm looking forward to the next one. And for anyone who hasn't already, hit that like and subscribe button to this channel for more content like this. We go live every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Today you had your host, KARL Shaft. My man.
Yeah, salute. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course.
And if we take anything from this whole thing, the importance of knowing and being aware of where you come from, where it began in your family, that may provide some jewels and helpful tools on how you can function and recreate that or carry it on today. And if each individual, if each Black woman says, you know what, I'm gonna start today being the matriarch of my family, not just my children, but all my brothers and sisters' children, all my brothers and sisters, I want everybody, I'm gonna be the new Nana, the new grandma. All Thanksgiving dinners are here, Sunday dinners are here. If you are a woman with the means to do it and you do it, you will see the outcome of everyone's lives, the memories that you're creating, and how supportive that family structure gets stronger and stronger. And they won't be part of the confusion and the bullshit that you see right now going on around you or in front of you, or that you're a part of. Because it has to change. Because what's been going on for the last 10, 20 years is not working for nobody. So try that. Try being a matriarch. And the same with the men. Instead of sitting around here talking about what women are and their body shapes and this, that, and third, try striving to be a patriarch. So that way you could teach the next man, the next boy, how to be a man. Bring back those rituals where the father taught the son how to shave, and when he got older, he taught his son how to shave, and pass down some type of lineage, some type of piece from your history. Because like I said, I love looking at my grandfather's watch because he gave it to my father gave it to me. What do you think I'm going to do?
Facts.
And that's what structured family tradition is all about. Having something to go back to. Because right now, you don't have nothing to go back to. For all you selfish people that just want to think about now and how the past don't help the future. Yes, it does, because you're walking around naked. You're not equipped. You don't have what it takes. You don't have what you need. That's why most of them can't cook, because they don't have no family recipes. So, I'm just saying.
That's why he's everything. That's why he's the GOAT. The GOAT.
Awesome. That was good, man. That was definitely good. Yo, I really appreciate this. I appreciate you. That was a lot that was said.
Thank you, brother.
You know, we agree and disagree, but I definitely agree with a lot more than I disagree. You know,
and that's the thing. It's never about right or wrong. It's about
different
logic.
perspectives.
That's it. Looking at things from a different lens.
Yeah,
that's all.
Yeah, and I definitely
it's free.
I appreciate it, man. I definitely appreciate it. But on that note, good night, my man.
Salute.
Good
Thank
night,
you, brother.
everyone.
Appreciate it.
We will see you all next Tuesday.
All right.
If we're doing everything right, I think we should be vetting our wives. Like go to their parents, go to their fathers.
They know they shouldn't have let me start speaking my mind in the booth. Start speaking the truth. Might get shot.
I think you're just saying, okay, actions have consequences, and I'm not going to support this person's actions. Like, you don't have to cancel them and say, like, I'm never, I hate you.
Innocent lives have to die.
I. But the whole thing is men are I also. That man was on the other side doing the exact same thing, and his decision with his eyes was to walk away.
Inside your soul.
Now we could paint the perfect picture without belittling each other. Cause under God's system,
we are equipped to handle that responsibility. But not every man is fit to handle that responsibility.
I done seen flip Michigan
and this is being
cities. They pissing in project buildings that got a roof that leaks, resulting in missing ceilings. Hard to sleep. Children going to schools dealing issues deep.
So I think society does make it more difficult for short men, but I don't think that it's impossible that they could find someone.
And expecting you to do your part. It ain't hard to see they trying to keep black in the back, just like Rosa Parks. Cops shooting blacks as if they get a token from God. School rob you with needed resources.
Is the weaker vessel and the more vulnerable.
Absolutely,
vessel.
100%.
You don't look at the man like, oh, poor son, you were violated. No, you like, right.
And nobody.
They shift my stick like some cars. And when you're lonely in your darkest thoughts come, I know it's hard, but God shines his light on all I play their part. And it's the start.
Put myself in a situation where I can only rely on a man. Like if I'm married and being a stay-at-home mom, I need to have a backup in case anything happens. I can't only rely on him. You know what I'm saying?
A flower will grow once you plant the seed inside your soul.
I'm a poet, and the best part of me shows it. Here to speak the message of what is known, but not what it takes to expose it. Listen closer as I take you on a mental path. See divisions, the math, hoping we clash on lower levels, just like in the past. Before we begin to see spared lives, keep in mind the first 3 letters of unity starts with you and I. And maybe then we can all thrive, changing the narratives of our lives, finding belief from inside. We gotta come together, different feathers.